doing and after last night? And you won't answer this, but do you think he'll start game two?
He's doing pretty well. I talked to him a little while ago, so he came out of last night well. He's going to get shots up today, get a little more work, but should be good to go for tomorrow. And yeah, I'm not answering that one, the second part.
Steve, when you look at the way you guys played last night and obviously the impact of the new lineup, are you able to sort of get a finger on how much of that lineup you can actually use in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the opponent. It depends on how the game is going. You have to read the game. The way we've always kind of done it here, the method is if you do it for too long, it's exhausting. You can see sometimes teams will go small, get on a huge run, and there's still big chunk of the game left, and the energy's gone, and the other team goes on a run. So you kind of want to avoid those big swings that go against you. You want the one swing that helps you without giving up the other swing in reverse. So that's why we've done it in smaller portions. With that said, it's going to depend on our opponent. It's going to depend on what we're trying to do defensively, what our game plan is. So for this series, we have a pretty decent idea of what we'd like to do, but what's the Mike Tyson line? Everyone's got a plan till you get punched in the mouth. That's kind of the truth. You got to figure it out on the fly.
Draymond was mentioning the need for that small lineup to form a defensive identity. They've only played together now 5 minutes or so. What do you think the defensive identity of that unit can be?
Well, we need Wiggs to rebound, which he did last night. He had nine boards. We can't foul. If we don't foul, then we can get out and run. Even if the other team scores, we're still pushing the ball rather than having to walk it up after a free throw. And we've got to contain penetration. So we've got to be able to use our speed and quickness to keep people out of the paint, and then rebound and go. And there are times where that's going to happen. There's going to be times where it doesn't, and that's what we've got to be able to read.
I know you don't often call plays, but with that group, do you call any plays, or is it just kind of momentum, motion, offense, and they do what they do?
Mostly just, just do what you do. Draymond in the high pick and the floor spread. And then once the ball's moving, it's just drive and kick. So it's more concepts than plays, but we'll call one on a dead ball, maybe just to change up, but not very often.
Steve, you've mentioned before that you've been intentionally hard on Jordan Poole. Can you remind us why you did that, and what do you think was born out of the tough love approach?
Well, we're trying to make sure that he takes on all the responsibilities that come with playing winning basketball. And one of the problems that he's had earlier in the year is just fouling too much. When he's beaten out of frustration, just reaching. Not doing his job defensively. So that was usually the reason for the tough love. And I thought last night was one of his best games defensively. Everyone, rightfully so, locked in on the 30 points because he made some special plays. But you watch the tape, he stayed in front of his guy. He didn't reach. He made it hard on people to score. When they did get an angle, he didn't reach. He didn't do what he's done a lot earlier in the year, and the game kept flowing. And that's what we need out of him.
Coach, oftentimes in these playoff series, when you see a situation where a guy like Jokic only gets 2 free throw attempts, the team only got 12, the Nuggets did, you see that kind of swing the next game. Is there anything you do to tell your team to prepare for those types of swings?
Yes. Yeah. we've already told them Denver's going to come out swinging tomorrow. I mean, this is how series generally work. You know, the team that loses game one, especially a game like that yesterday, that where things went pretty smoothly for us. The other team's they're going to come out swinging. They're going to bring the full force tomorrow. They're going to go to the line more. It's just going to happen. It's just the way it works, because they're going to be more aggressive, because, they will have sent their clips to the league, like everyone does. And that's why we have to be really disciplined tomorrow. Denver's a great team, even without their injured players, with Murray and Porter being out. They were able to have the type of season they did because of, who Jokic is and the continuity that they have with Mike and the roster. They know what they're doing. And so they're coming after us tomorrow. We know that, and we've got to be ready. We can't let our guard down.
Steve, Draymond was in here before you, and he was talking about the logic behind bringing Steph off the bench, bringing him off the bench, and contrasted it with Clay and saying that this is the more logical move to bring guys off the bench when they've been out for a while and they're on minute restrictions. Was there anything learned from the Clay experiment?
Well, I think, we learned that it was really hard for Clay to sit for 12 minutes. And we talked about that at the time, but I think what outweighed that for us was the 2.5-year absence. Clay is a starter. It's the middle of the season. You're going to start the rest of the year. Like, let's throw you in the starting lineup. Now, the first couple of weeks, it was definitely awkward where he's riding the bike in the tunnel for 20 minutes. The minutes were really tricky until they creeped up enough where, we could kind of stagger his rotations to a comfortable level. So with that in mind, yesterday was a lot easier to do what we did with Steph, and we did it in concert with him. It wasn't like I made the decision. I talked to him about it, and we made the decision together.
Looney had a few buckets early. Bielitsa came in and scored. Porter in the paint. Did I feel like that loosened their defense up a little bit? That the guys they probably kind of wanted to shoot made some plays early.
Yeah, they did a good job. There are openings out there. The way Denver is defending the perimeter. They're committing. At least they did in game one. They're committing. Their big guys to the ball on the high screens. So the floor has opened up a little bit, and you got driving lanes for Loon, for Belly, for Otto. Got a lot of plays out of the pocket on the backside. Gary Payton, getting a lay-in, Draymond getting a dunk. So those plays were all there, and that's what we have to look for tomorrow, to see what adjustments they make. Do they try to take that away? If they do, then we have to be ready with our counter.
I think Porter was something like plus 24, and he wasn't on that closing unit, and he wasn't making a ton of shots. And yet sometimes that does happen with him a lot. Can you put your finger on how that happens with Otto Porter not being always in with the other stars?
Seems to happen a lot with both Gary and Otto. They both seem to make really positive impacts on the game, regardless of their own individual stats. With Otto, it's the screening, it's the passing, it's rebounding, the defensive rotations. He's just always in the right spot, and he understands the flow of the game. I think he fits our style really well. He ran the Princeton offense at Georgetown, so he learned at a young age kind of the style we play, the back cuts, the DHOs, the movement. So he really fits our style, and he's a pro. He's been around long enough now to really know the NBA, and so it seems like he makes a positive impact every night, whether his shot's going in or not.
Speaking of that, Coach, what's your comfort level at this point, having lineups out there for periods of time without Steph, Clay, or Jordan?
Steph, Clay, or Jordan?
Yeah.
I do not have a comfort level with that at this point. So I don't.
There was a
plan
few
on
instances of that last night, right?
What's that?
There was a few instances of that last night.
Steph, Clay,
Oh.
and Jordan? I don't think we had any. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, at the end. Yeah, at the end.
All right, let's do one on Zoom. Maria, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Hope you're well. Congrats for the first win. After more than 1,000 games, 1,038, if I'm not mistaken, Steph, Clay, and Draymond played together a playoff series game. So what is the most rewarding or gratifying thing to you to have them, the three of them, available to play?
Yeah, it's just so much fun to see them together after such a long absence. You know, what they've been able to accomplish together, along with Andre. You know, it's they've made an indelible mark on NBA history, and you know, for our fans, for our organization, for all of us who are close with them, it's so much fun to see them back on the floor competing together again, because you know, these were the best days in the history of the Warriors franchise. You know, those championships and watching those guys play together in concert. They're a really unique trio in that they're all three stars, but they all rely heavily on each other. I think our fans recognize that. It's kind of the beauty of the sport, that people need to play well together for a team to be good. So you to have that dynamic back, to see them still playing at a high level with that emotion in a new building, in a new environment 3 years after the last time we were together, it's incredibly gratifying.
Steve, what are your thoughts on media Draymond in two respects? One, what do you think of his podcast and so forth? And two, what do you, as a coach, some coaches might consider all that stuff he's doing as a distraction. You've always talked about the life-work balance and others. So where do you stand on?
I don't listen to his podcast. I listen to him every day, so I get enough of Draymond. No, you know, it's 2022. It's a different time. It's a new era. So players have these huge platforms. So it's different. So for you know, Draymond to have a podcast commenting on the league, commenting on our games, it's not something we've seen a whole lot of, if at all. But he loves it, and this is what he wants to do with his future. And as long as he's doing his job with us, which he clearly is doing really well, we're fine with it. I'm fine with it. I want him to be happy. I want him to be comfortable in his own existence and with his family. And so he's doing a great job of balancing everything out.
You didn't hear where he was ripping you then.
No, but I hear it in practice directly. So
Draymond described guarding Jokic as a chess match, a game within the game. Could you expand on what he meant by that, and why were you guys able to be so effective against some Spurs last night?
Yeah. No, he's a very smart player, and you know, with his passing ability, kind of makes it hard to just stick to one game plan. That's what I kind of think he means by a chess match. You know, sometimes you go in a double. Sometimes you gotta, you know, kind of go one-on-one and pick your poison with him. So we did a good job of switching up coverages, putting different bodies on them, and just making them work. You know, not sending them to the free throw line and making everything tough. That's kind of what our game plan is. Just try to mix it up, make him work for every bucket and take away the easy one. He's a great player, so he's gonna make shots. He's gonna make some amazing plays and some amazing passes. But you know, you gotta try to wear him down.
Draymond also said because you guys were able to keep him pretty quiet last night, he expects him to go for 40, 15, and 15 coming out tomorrow. Do you agree? And with that, how do you continue to adapt your defense and throw new things at him throughout a series?
Definitely. It's hard to keep great players having big nights. We did a pretty good job in game one. So we just got to be ready for his his physicality tomorrow is he's a great player, so he's going to make adjustments. He's going to see things in film that he could have did better, and we just got to be ready to meet his force. Still try to just keep him off the free throw line. That's going to be the biggest thing. If he gets those numbers on taking tough twos and hitting threes without getting to the free throw line, that's what we want. We don't want that, but that's the best case scenario. We don't want to give them easy shots. Don't want to get to the free throw line, see the ball go in, and put guys in foul trouble and put them in the bonus and things of that nature. So he's going to get his numbers, and as long as we're making him work for it and making him work on both sides of the floor, we got to kind of live with that because we can't. He's the type of player that you can't just take out.
What were your observations about that 3-guard combo when Steph, Clay, and Poole are on the court together with Wiggins and Draymond?
It's real dynamic. It's kind of, you got to pick your poison, who you want to blitz, who you're going to help off of. In most case scenarios, usually all the attention goes to Steph, but JP had it going last night, Clay had it going last night, and Steph was able to be a facilitator and still draw two and find those guys at the same time. So then you got Wiggins slashing to the rim, so it's really tough to guard, especially when we're getting stops and we're running out and pushing the pace like that, like we were, and Draymond's dominating the paint. It's kind of tough to guard, it's tough to beat. We got to continue to play that way and play smart, and not turn the ball over and try to win a possession battle. And when we do that, we're pretty tough.
What have been some of your favorite things about seeing Jordan blossom into a star in this league?
Just his work ethic and his from day one, he had the confidence of a star player when he even shouldn't have it. He would shoot crazy shots, and everybody on the bench be looking at him like, why does he think he should be able to shoot these shots? But he put the work in. He kept working at his game, and it's been paying off. He wasn't a highly touted pick, and he wasn't just given the respect. He's went and taking his respect and earned his respect from guys like Draymond, Steph, and Clay. For those guys don't let everybody just go out there and shoot shots and command the ball and do the things that he's doing. And he went out there and earned his respect, and we feel comfortable with him making plays and him leading the offense at times.
Hey, Kevon, it's early, but what has playoff Draymond been like during the lead up and in game one compared to the other years?
He's been great. It's what I expect from Draymond. He always takes it up to another level. Each round he gets better and better. I was talking to Jordan about that. Like, yeah, he was asking me questions about the playoffs and how guys be. I'm like, Steph, Clay, and Draymond take it up to a whole nother level than what you've seen. In the regular season they're great, but in the playoffs they're even better. That's tough to do. When the stakes are as high as I expect them to compete at the highest level, and Draymond's been doing that for years. He's like a whole nother monster when it comes to playoff time, and this is where his time to shine. Where every possession matters, he usually comes out and be our leader and be our energy.
On that note, what's he like behind the scenes during this time?
He just locked in. He's just rallying the group. This is our first time as this team in the playoffs together, so it's a lot of guys' first playoffs. So he's just been doing a great job of leading and getting guys in their spots and keeping guys mentally locked in throughout practices. We had 5 days is a lot of time to practice. Sometimes you can over practice, sometimes you can kind of lose focus. So he kept guys in the right mind space, and we was able to come out and get game one, and hopefully keep it going.
I was talking to Jordan a while back, and he was talking about how, his style of basketball and, how you have to be, there's a certain toughness that's involved. And also, you got to be willing to go into the paint sometimes. And he said, that's how we play in Milwaukee. And so how would you describe the way you guys played in Milwaukee area?
I would think he would be kind of the poster child for what Milwaukee basketball is like. But he has the size and the speed and the athleticism for an NBA player. But it's a lot of guys that's 5'7", 5'8" that play just like Jordan Poole in Milwaukee. They're tough. They're shooting crazy shots. They like to pick up full court. They like to be aggressive, and that toughness where they're not backing down from anyone. That he kind of embodies what Milwaukee basketball is about. So it's just fun to see him out there doing his thing and representing for our city and putting on the show. I know there's a lot of guys out there that feel like they could have did it, but they're living through him, watching him do all the things that he's doing. I know he done took part bits and pieces from different players he probably seen growing up in the city of Milwaukee. So it's exciting to see. We got a couple guys from Milwaukee across the league putting up numbers and doing a great job, and it's great for our city, and it's a great moment of time just to be from there.
And he said part of that was because guys weren't afraid to play in the cold because you have to.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things. I got my girlfriend's from California. I said she got to go live in Milwaukee because the cold it builds character. It makes you a little bit tougher when you got to go practice at 6 a.m. in the cold. It makes you realize if you really love the game that much.
Kevon, what do you think of Draymond's podcast?
Draymond has a great podcast. He has he's a high IQ player. You can kind of listen to him talk all day, especially in the locker room. We just listen to him talk and how he's bringing it to the world so everybody can see. He has a great way of being insightful and ruffling feathers at the same time. So it's always fun to hear him talk. He always got some controversial points, but it's kind of hard to argue with him when he's one of the smartest players in the league. So he has a great podcast. Andre has a great one. So it's just good to see that NBA players are getting into that world. I love listening to different type of podcasts. So them two are on top of my list right now.
Let's go to one on Zoom. Christos, go ahead.
Hey, Kevon. Hope you're doing well. How big for this team is to have on the same time on the floor Steph, Clay, and Draymond? How different is the dynamic with those three guys on the court on the same time?
It's great to have them on the floor back together. It's been a long time coming. It gives us a sense of calmness and steadiness when them guys on the court at the same time. We feel like when them guys are together and they're rolling, that we can beat anybody in the league. So having them out there gives us that championship way, that leadership, something that we can follow. They calm us down when things get a little rocky. So having them back together was great to see. Each game they're going to get better. Steph's going to get the rust off, and they're going to get their rhythm. And you see when they get to going and playing our style of basketball, it can be dangerous. So last night was a good step in the right direction, and hopefully we can keep getting better.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's it for today for us. The Nuggets are supposed to be available around 4:00 or so. No word on shoot around for us tomorrow. When I find out, we'll let everybody know.